Hi there. In this video, let's talk about two very important joins. The first one is the inner join. For this example, we have taken customers and customer email as our tables. So what it does is select your column names from the table A, join the second table. Let's call customers as our first table, and the second one is the second table, followed by aliases that represents the tables, and followed by the keyword on, um, and then the alias for the first table, C dot, and the ID equal to the alias for the second table, CM dot, the corresponding ID, and that's where it creates an inner join between the two tables, right? Followed by and only displays the records that satisfies the condition provided, right? So for an example, let's say if you select this SQL, and when you execute it, it's going to display every record from first table um, that satisfies the condition here with the second table. So here the ID here is matching with the ID of the second table. But don't do this at work. Select star is not something that we recommend to use in the workplace. And also, if you look at the second example here, if you uh, want a specific columns to be displayed, you always need to prefix them with an alias of that specific table. If you don't prefix them, your SQL will be confused from what specific table you need to pull that column, especially if the same column exists in both the tables. In this case, the first column here, it exists in both, first table and the second table here. So hence, when you execute this SQL, yeah, it's gonna throw an error saying, hey, the field is ambiguous because it doesn't know which table it needs to pull that column from. So the correct way of doing this is, first thing is specify what columns that you want to actually pull from a SQL query, right? Never use the star as a default, right? So always specify, and also when you are using joins, make sure you specify the aliases. Here, this is an alias, which means you're pulling this specific column from the first table. And then here you're pulling this specific column from the second table because an alias is tagged to this alias, right? And followed by the condition. So this is the right way of doing things. So this is the proper way, right? So follow this at work, but for the sake of training, you can definitely train with this and examine the results to understand, the different ways of pulling data. And keep in mind, when you're using joins, here I'm showing just with the one or two tables, just the two tables here. You can also do the same thing with multiple tables as well, right? So basically you can have multiple join conditions within a select query. So moving on to the left outer join, the same thing that we have discussed earlier with the inner join. The difference is when you use a left outer join, it still uses two tables, but it selects all the data from the left table, right? No matter what. In this case, the left table is this guy right here. So that's going to be your left table. So it draws out all the data from the first table no matter what, and it joins with the second table and shows up all the matched records and also unmatched records. For example, if there's an unmatched record, the left join clause still shows that an empty value for it on the display screen, right? So just to look at an example here. So again, don't do this at work. Star is never recommended an approach, but when you execute the SQL, so left outer join is the main keyword that you need to use, and then two tables and the condition, right? Pretty much the same thing as inner join, but only thing is you're going to use left outer join instead of inner join, right? And when I execute this statement, so you can see some, you might be able to see some null values, but in this case, there's no null values because every record in the first table has a corresponding record in the second table. Hence, there is no, you don't see any null records per se, right? But if they don't, right, if there is some records in the second table that doesn't exist within the second table, then yeah, there will be some null values in this will be shown when I execute this query, right? Which means some records in the first table might not have the corresponding records in the second table. So try it out and see if that works for you. Same thing, don't do this, because same ambiguous error that I've shown earlier will occur. And this is the right way to do, right? So you always use the aliases in front of your column names, and that's the right way to test this. Thank you for watching the video.